Why Apple's Siri isn't as smart as Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant. At any given time, most of us are within earshot of a virtual assistant. They're in our pocket, whether you're using Apple's Siri to remind you of an appointment, asking Amazon's Alexa to play a song for you, or consulting the Google Assistant for a local weather report. Interacting with these non-human assistants has become normal. Siri came to the iPhone in 2011, but the underlying technologies are actually older than you might think. The first machine capable of synthesizing speech was created by Bell Labs 80 years ago in 1939. In 1952, Bell Labs invented a machine that could understand the spoken numbers 0 through 9. 2 years later, in 1962, IBM created the shoebox, which could understand 16 spoken words. By 1970, since then, scientists have started combining these processes with artificial intelligence, a field that itself has been around since the 1950s. As a result, we now have things like Alexa, Siri, the Google Assistant and Microsoft Cortana that are able to understand us when we talk. Artificial intelligence is a big reason computer scientists have been able to make assistants easier to use, but there could be a difference between what you might think of when you hear AI and what it actually means. Traditionally, to be able to make a decision about something, a computer needs a set of rules predefined by a human. By drawing on in this case, they can learn to understand language by looking at how people talk and interact. That requires Natalie Schluter, an associate professor at the IT University of Copenhagen, explains. And it's not just the amount of data, kind of data matters too. If you're training data, so why doesn't Siri always understand what you're looking for? In part, it comes down to things that have nothing to do with the science, and everything to do with the reality of how different companies work. 1. Another possible reason Siri has lagged behind is because of Apple's strict privacy standards. While many Beyond that, Apple is a notoriously secretive company. Usually. But it does seem like Apple has started to take these things more seriously. Last year, it won at the end of 2018, showed Siri not yet in the lead, but gaining on its competitors. Plus just this week at Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, to Siri shortcuts, which allows developers greater Siri integration, as well as an update to Siri's text-to-speech engine, which now uses a voice generated entirely by software. But there are still things that Apple could do if it wants to make Siri more impressive. He adds,
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.